Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Easy English with Daisy. I'm Daisy, speaking to you all the way from New York City.
And I'm Jonathan. It's great to see you again, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another fun and friendly English conversation.
Today, we're going to talk about something everyone can relate to, what we usually do in our free time.
Exactly. Whether you're studying abroad like Daisy, working full-time, or just relaxing at home, we all need to know how to talk about our hobbies and how we spend our free time in English.
That's right. I'll also share a bit about my life here in New York, what I usually do when I have time off from my studies.
Sounds perfect. So, let's dive right in. Today's topic is, what do you usually do in your free time?
Discovering free time in a busy city. So, Jonathan, I've been living in New York for almost a year now, and honestly, I still feel like I'm discovering something new every single week.
That's totally understandable. New York is one of those cities that never sleeps, right? There's always something happening. Concerts, food festivals, art shows, you name it.
Exactly. Sometimes it feels like 24 hours aren't enough. But recently, I've been thinking about how I spend my free time, because even in such a busy city, I think it's important to slow down once in a while.
That's a great point. So, when you do get a little free time between classes, what do you usually do?
Hmm, it depends. If the weather's nice, I like going for a walk in Central Park. It's my little escape from all the noise. I bring a cup of coffee, listen to some soft music, and just enjoy being surrounded by trees and people walking their dogs.
That sounds so peaceful. I remember when I visited Central Park, I was surprised at how calm it feels, even though you're right in the middle of Manhattan.
Exactly. And it reminds me a bit of the parks back home in China. We also have beautiful gardens and spaces where people dance or practice Tai Chi in the morning. It gives me a sense of connection. Like, even though I'm far away from home, I can still find small, familiar things.
That's lovely. It's interesting how certain places can bring us comfort, even when we're in a completely different culture. Do you ever meet new people there?
Oh, yes. Sometimes I start a conversation with other students or locals. New Yorkers are actually quite friendly once you talk to them. I met a girl who's studying photography. We often walk around taking pictures of street art and the skyline.
That's awesome. So you've kind of built your own little community there.
Yeah, in a way. I think when you study abroad, it's easy to feel lonely at first, but once you start sharing hobbies, it becomes easier to connect.
I completely agree. When I lived abroad for a year, joining local clubs really helped me. I joined a running club, not because I was a great runner, but because it was a nice way to meet people.
I can imagine that. I'm not really into running, but sometimes I join yoga classes near my apartment. It helps me relax after a long week. And the best part is, the instructor always plays soft music and dims the lights. It feels like meditation.
That sounds like the perfect escape from city life. You know, I think people often forget that free time doesn't have to mean doing something big. It can just mean resting or being present.
Exactly. Back in China, I used to think that being productive, even during free time, was important, like learning a new skill, reading self help books, things like that. But here, I've learned that sometimes doing nothing is also okay.
That's such a healthy mindset. I think living in New York probably teaches you to find balance, right? Because it's such a fast paced city, but you also need moments to recharge.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I've started keeping little slow weekends. No phone, no social media. I just cook, write in my journal, and sometimes go to a small cafe in Brooklyn that has the best cheesecake ever.
Oh, I'm making me hungry already. What do you usually write in your journal?
Mostly reflections about my day, new words I've learned in English, or interesting people I meet. It's my way to practice writing and to keep memories.
That's such a great idea for English learners, too. Writing a daily or weekly journal is one of the best ways to build vocabulary and confidence.
Yes, and it also helps me see how I've changed since I came here. My first entries were all about how difficult everything felt language, weather, culture. But now I write about the little joys, like finding a good noodle shop or seeing snow for the first time.
Ah, your first snow in New York. That must have been magical.
It really was. I remember standing outside my apartment, just looking up at the sky. It reminded me of winter holidays back home, but this time I was creating my own memory in a new place.
That's beautiful, Daisy. It sounds like you found a wonderful balance between exploring and relaxing.
I tried to, and I think that's what free time should be about. Not just doing something, but feeling something. Feeling calm, curious, or even grateful.
Well said. I think our listeners will relate to that. Everyone needs time to breathe, to find small moments of peace, whether that's a walk, a cup of coffee, or just sitting quietly for 10 minutes.
Totally. And maybe after today's episode, they can try to describe their own free time habits in English.
Yes, that's a good challenge. So if you're listening, think about it. What do you usually do in your free time? How do those activities make you feel? Write it down or tell a friend. That's how you really learn a language.
Perfect advice, Jonathan. And that's what Easy English with Daisy is all about learning through real stories and daily conversations.
Exactly. So, Daisy, next time maybe we can talk about your weekend hobbies. I'm curious about what keeps you inspired outside of studying.
I'd love that. There's definitely more to share. But for now, I think we've given everyone a good picture of how to talk about free time in English.
Yes, and maybe a little inspiration to enjoy their own too.
Right. So that's it for part one discovering free time in a busy city. Don't go anywhere because in the next part, we'll dive into our favorite weekend hobbies and how they help us relax and recharge.
Can't wait.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Part 2 Simple Joys and Weekend Hobbies.
So, Daisy, last time you told us about how you like to spend your free time. Walking in Central Park, writing in your journal, doing yoga. It all sounded so calm and meaningful. But I'm curious, what about your weekends? What does a typical Saturday or Sunday look like for you in New York?
My weekends are like a mix of lazy and busy. Lazy because I like to sleep in, and busy because I try to make the most of the city. Usually I start with something small, like cooking breakfast while listening to some soft jazz music.
Oh, that sounds like the perfect start. What's your go-to breakfast?
Well, on weekdays, I'm always rushing, so I just grab a bagel or a cup of coffee. But on weekends, I take my time. I like making scrambled eggs with tomatoes. That's a simple dish from China called Shihong Shi Chow. Done. It reminds me of home.
Yes, I've had that before. It's delicious, simple but comforting, and I love how food can make us feel connected to where we come from.
Exactly. It's not just food, it's like a piece of memory. While I cook, I sometimes call my mom on WeChat. She always asks, "Are you eating enough?" And I say, "Yes, Mom, don't worry."
That's such a classic mom thing to say. No matter where you are, moms always worry about food.
Totally. After breakfast, I usually go outside if the weather's nice. I love exploring small cafes or bookshops. There's one near Washington Square Park where I always go. It's quiet and the owner plays old French music.
That sounds like a hidden gem. Do you read or study there?
A bit of both. Sometimes I bring my laptop to work on assignments, but other times I just read novels. Lately, I've been reading Little Women. It's such a beautiful story. It reminds me of family, love, and growing up.
That's one of my favorites too. The characters feel so real. And reading classic books like that can really help improve your English. The vocabulary, the rhythm, the emotions.
Yes, it helps me learn expressions that I don't find in textbooks. Like when Joe says, "I'd rather be a free soul than a lady." It really stuck with me.
That's such a powerful line. I think it also reflects your life. living abroad, being independent, exploring new things?
Maybe a little, yes. I've learned that being independent doesn't mean being alone. It means learning to take care of yourself and finding joy in small things.
Beautifully said. Speaking of small things, what are your favorite little joys during weekends?
Oh, so many. I love taking photos of New York streets, the sunlight on the buildings, the people walking dogs, the yellow taxis. I'm not a professional photographer, but I enjoy capturing simple moments.
I think that's what photography is about, noticing beauty in everyday life. Do you post your photos anywhere?
Sometimes on Instagram, but mostly I keep them for myself. They're like snapshots of my journey here.
That's lovely. You know, your photos must tell a story of a girl from China discovering New York through her own eyes.
Aw, that's a nice way to say it. Sometimes I walk across Brooklyn Bridge at sunset and I just stop and look at the skyline. It's so beautiful, especially when the light hits the glass buildings. I always feel grateful that I get to live here, even if it's just for a few years.
I can imagine that moment. The wind, the colors, the sound of people passing by. It must feel magical.
Yes, it does. And sometimes I bring my sketchbook and draw what I see. I'm not very good, but it's my way of relaxing.
That's amazing. Drawing can be so therapeutic. It's like meditation. You forget time while you focus on lines and colors.
Exactly. And I also discovered that many art students in New York do the same thing. You can see people sketching in cafes, museums, or even on the subway.
That's true. There's something about New York that inspires creativity. Everyone seems to be making something. Music, art, stories.
Yes, and it makes me want to try new things too. Last month, I joined a small pottery workshop in Brooklyn. It was my first time working with clay.
Wow, that's awesome. How was it?
Messy, but fun. My first cup was totally uneven, but I loved it. The teacher said, "Don't worry about perfection. Art is about feeling." That really stuck with me.
That's such great advice. Not just for art, but for life, too.
Exactly. It made me realize that hobbies aren't just activities. They're a way to express yourself, to learn patience, and to enjoy the process.
Yes, and I think many of our listeners can relate to that. Sometimes people think hobbies have to be productive, like learning a new skill or earning money, but really, hobbies are about joy.
Totally. Even something as simple as going to a farmer's market makes me happy. I love looking at fresh fruits and flowers, the colors, the smells. It's so relaxing.
I can picture that. You with a cup of coffee, a small camera, and a tote bag full of apples and tulips.
Yes, that's me. And after that, I might meet my friends for lunch. We usually go to a small Chinese restaurant in Chinatown. Eating hot noodles together makes me feel warm inside, like home.
Food really brings people together, doesn't it?
Yes. And it reminds me that even though I'm far away, I can still build a sense of home through people and routines.
That's beautiful, Daisy. I think that's something that all international students can relate to, finding small ways to feel grounded.
Exactly. And sometimes my weekends are not busy at all. There are days when I just stay home, make tea, light a candle, and watch movies. My favorite is Before Sunrise.
Oh, I love that one. It's such a quiet, thoughtful movie. Two people just talking about life and dreams.
Yes, I love the simplicity of it. It reminds me that deep connections come from simple conversations, just like what we're doing right now.
That's true. And I think that's what makes your weekends sound so meaningful. They're not just about doing things, but about feeling alive.
That's a nice way to put it. Sometimes I write small notes to myself before the week begins, like, don't rush or notice the little things. It helps me stay mindful.
That's such a great habit. Maybe our listeners could try that too. Writing small reminders can really change your mindset.
Yes, and it's also a good English practice. Short, simple sentences, but full of meaning.
Exactly. So, to our listeners, maybe next weekend, take a break from your phone, go outside, take a walk, or write a little note about what makes you happy.
Yes, because happiness doesn't always come from big achievements. Sometimes it's just from a warm breakfast, a walk in the park, or a quiet afternoon.
Couldn't agree more. So, Daisy, if you had to describe your perfect weekend in just 3 words, what would they be?
I would say slow, sunny, peaceful. What about you?
I'd say coffee, nature, laughter.
Those sound perfect. Maybe next time we can compare our weekend stories again.
I'd love that. And for everyone listening, we hope today's conversation gave you some inspiration and maybe a few new English expressions too.
Yes, and remember, it's not just about learning English words, it's about learning to express your life in English.
Beautifully said. So that wraps up today's Part 2, Simple Joys and Weekend Hobbies.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Stay with us for Part 3, where we'll talk about connecting with people and cultures and how free time can help us make new friends and understand the world better.
Part 3. Connecting with People and Cultures.
So, Daisy, we've talked about how you spend your free time. Relaxing weekends, reading, taking photos, sketching, exploring cafes. But one thing I've noticed about you is that you really enjoy meeting people from different backgrounds.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the things I love most about living in New York. It's such a multicultural city. You can meet people from everywhere just by walking down one street.
That's so true. You can find a Korean barbecue place next to an Italian bakery, across from a Mexican taco stand. The city is like a huge melting pot.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes free time here so interesting. It's not only about what you do, but who you share it with. When I first came here, I was quite shy. My English wasn't perfect, and I was afraid of making mistakes. But after a few months, I realized that people actually love hearing about different cultures.
That's such an important point. Sometimes we think language barriers make it hard to connect, but actually, sharing your story, your accent, your experiences makes you unique.
Yes, and sometimes those differences start the best conversations. I remember once in class, we were talking about holidays, and I shared how in China we celebrate the Lunar New Year with dumplings, red envelopes, and fireworks. My classmates were so curious.
I bet they were. Lunar New Year is such a beautiful tradition. Did you celebrate it here in New York too?
Oh, yes. Chinatown was full of colors and music. I went there with my friends, one from Japan, one from Brazil, and one from Germany. It was funny because I became their local guide, even though I was also a foreigner.
That's amazing. And I'm sure they loved learning from you.
They did, and later they invited me to celebrate their own traditions, like the Japanese cherry blossom picnic or Brazilian carnival music night. It was so much fun.
That's the beauty of cultural exchange. Everyone brings something special. You share your traditions, and you learn new ones in return.
Yes, it makes you more open-minded and kind. I used to think that cultural differences were barriers, but now I see them as bridges.
Beautifully said, Daisy. I think that's something all of us can learn, to see diversity as connection, not separation.
Yes, and I think that also helps improve your English. When you talk with people from different countries, you learn different accents, idioms, even new ways of expressing feelings.
That's very true. I've noticed that too. Like when you talk to a British person, they might say, "Fancy a cup of tea?" But an American would say, "Do you want some coffee?" The same idea, but totally different flavor.
Yes, I still remember the first time I heard, "What's up?" I didn't know what to say. I thought they were asking about the sky.
That's such a common story, but it's moments like that which make learning English fun, right?
Yes, exactly. And now I love learning slang. My friends always teach me new ones, like, "That's fire," or "You nailed it."
I use them all the time now.
That's awesome. And your pronunciation has become so natural, too. You sound confident, but still very you.
Thank you. I think that's because I've learned to stop being afraid of sounding different. My accent is part of my identity.
Exactly. An accent isn't a mistake, it's a story.
Yes, and sometimes those differences start the best conversations. I remember once in class, we were talking about holidays, and I shared how in China we celebrate the Lunar New Year with dumplings, red envelopes, and fireworks. My classmates were so curious.
I bet they were. Lunar New Year is such a beautiful tradition. Did you celebrate it here in New York, too?
Oh, yes. Chinatown was full of colors and music. I went there with my friends, one from Japan, one from Brazil, and one from Germany. It was funny because I became their local guide, even though I was also a foreigner.
That's amazing. And I'm sure they loved learning from you.
They did. And later, they invited me to celebrate their own traditions, like the Japanese cherry blossom picnic or Brazilian carnival music night. It was so much fun.
That's the beauty of cultural exchange. Everyone brings something special. You share your traditions and you learn new ones in return.
Yes, it makes you more open minded and kind. I used to think that cultural differences were barriers, but now I see them as bridges.
Beautifully said, Daisy. I think that's something all of us can learn to see diversity as connection, not separation.
Yes, and I think it also helps improve your English. When you talk with people from different countries, you learn different accents, idioms, even new ways of expressing feelings.
That's very true. I've noticed that too. Like when you talk to a British person, they might say, fancy a cup of tea. But an American would say, do you want some coffee? The same idea, but totally different flavor.
Yes, I still remember the first time I heard, "What's up?" I didn't know what to say. I thought they were asking about the sky.
That's such a common story, but it's moments like that which make learning English fun, right?
Yes, exactly. And now I love learning slang. My friends always teach me new ones, like, "That's fire," or "You nailed it." I use them all the time now.
That's awesome. And your pronunciation has become so natural, too. You sound confident, but still very you.
Thank you. I think that's because I've learned to stop being afraid of sounding different. My accent is part of my identity.
Exactly. An accent isn't a mistake, it's a story.
Yes. And when you live abroad, connecting with people helps you grow emotionally too. I've met people who change the way I see the world.
Can you give an example?
Sure. There's a woman I met in a volunteer program last summer. We helped serve food to homeless people. She was from Mexico, and she told me about how kindness doesn't need language. Even a smile can make someone's day. That really touched me.
That's so beautiful. It shows how spending your free time helping others can make your life richer.
Exactly. It's not always about relaxing. Sometimes it's about giving. When I help others, I feel connected, not just to people, but to the city itself.
That's powerful. And I think many people listening today will feel inspired by that.
I hope so. I think everyone should try volunteering, even just once. It gives you a new perspective on life.
I totally agree. And it's also a great way to practice real English conversations. You meet people, listen to stories, and use English naturally.
Yes, real conversations, not from textbooks. That's where learning truly happens.
So, Daisy, besides volunteering, how else do you connect with people here?
Hmm. I love joining cultural events. New York always has something like street art festivals, language exchange meetups, or international movie nights. I once joined a cooking class called
Taste the World. Each student cooked a dish from their country.
Oh, wow, that sounds delicious. What did you make?
Of course, dumplings. Everyone loved them. And I tried dishes from India, France, and Turkey. It felt like traveling the world without leaving the room.
That's such a great experience. And it shows how food brings people together, no matter the language or culture.
Exactly. And sometimes we stay in touch even after class. We still meet once a month for dinner, each time someone cooks something new.
That's amazing. You've built an international family here.
Yes, and that's what makes living abroad so special. You start alone, but you end up with friends from every continent.
That's such a gift, and I think when we open ourselves to others, we also learn more about ourselves.
Yes, I've learned to be patient, curious, and humble. Sometimes misunderstandings happen, like when I don't get a joke or a cultural reference. But instead of feeling embarrassed, I just ask. And most people are happy to explain.
That's a great attitude. Curiosity is the best teacher.
Exactly. And I've learned that kindness is universal. Whether you speak perfect English or not, people remember how you make them feel.
That's so true, and that's also the heart of communication. Connection, not perfection.
Yes. And that's what Easy English with Daisy is all about, right? Learning English by connecting hearts, not just words.
Absolutely. So, Daisy, if you had to give one piece of advice to someone studying abroad or learning English, what would it be?
I'd say don't wait until your English is perfect to talk to people. Start now. Speak, make mistakes, laugh about them. Every conversation is a step closer to confidence.
That's such great advice.